My name is Melanie Felvus. I am the founder and director of Your Preschools, Inc. Under that umbrella, we have 4 Montessori preschools: Smithville Christian Preschool, Dunville Christian Preschool, Grassy Christian Preschool, and Vineland Christian Preschool. We follow the Montessori method. This is a method that I have been enamored with for many, many years, and I find Maria Montessori fascinating. So I'm going to try to condense a little bit about her and spread that knowledge with you. Maria Montessori was born in 1870 in Italy. She believed that her efforts with children could lead to world peace. When Maria was born, Italy had a broken school system. In 30 years, they actually had had 40 ministers of education. The children were not educated past grade 3, and at the age of 9, they were actually going out and working. We know this firsthand. Somebody in our family, our beloved Nona, she went off to work full-time in a cotton mill when she was 9 years old. Maria Montessori was born into a mid to upper class family, and she was the first woman to actually go to med school. There's a rumor that the Pope at the time actually had to help her get approved. Maria was not allowed to practice anatomy with men, so she had to go in after hours to complete her studies. Maria Montessori worked and studied and tutored in hospitals and asylums. So the asylums were places where children with special needs would be. The children she was working with actually ended up scoring higher on the school system tests than those who were neurotypical. There was a point in Italy where the men were going off to war and the females needed to go off and work, so they were leaving their children home unattended. There was an apartment complex in a low opportunity area where they were leaving these children unattended, and they were finding a lot of damage done during the days. The people from this complex decided it was less expensive to hire somebody to look after the children than to keep up with these repairs. Maria Montessori was way overqualified for this job, but she took it as an opportunity to study the children and to work with the children. She came on board and worked with these children, where she developed child-sized furniture, and she developed a lot of her materials that we still use over 100 years later. So Maria needed to use whatever materials were available in this apartment complex. She used a lot of natural materials, especially wood. So to this day, over 100 years later, you're going to find a lot of natural materials in a Montessori classroom. You'll find things like the pink tower and the brown stairs. Those jobs are actually really interesting because they are all specific sizes and build on one another. The pink tower, for instance, is 10 pink blocks, and they are all different sizes. They're all the same color because we want the child to focus on the difference in size and weight, but not the difference in color. In the Montessori method, we also help the children develop their fine motor control with the use of scoops and tongs and spoons. There are 10 Montessori principles, and I'm just going to touch on a few right now. First, we have the absorbent mind. Maria Montessori believed that children have minds like sponges, and they're taking everything in, especially from the ages of 0 to 6. During those years, those formative years, it's our job to ensure that they are in an academically rich environment so that they can learn. They pick things up really quickly, and that's why we introduce things like French and sign language as well. Secondly, there are sensitive periods. So Maria Montessori believed that children are going to be interested in something at different peak times of their development. So if a child's really interested in math, it's our job to make sure that there are tons of math materials available to meet the child where they're at and help them progress. The role of the teacher in the Montessori classroom is unique in that we are observers. We are to observe the child, to find the child's abilities and interests, and make sure that we are teaching right to that level. 2 other principles of the Montessori method are auto-education and individualized learning. In auto-education, the children are learning at their own pace. In the individualized learning, the teachers spend a lot of time with the students on a one-on-one basis. And she also believed in the prepared environment. So the prepared environment means that the educator is making sure that the environment is orderly, it is organized, and it is ready for learning. In our schools, you're going to see educators who have a lot of respect for the children, and they have a lot of respect for the program. We have amazing educators who often have Montessori diplomas, early childhood education diplomas, and degrees. We have seen so many children that have started to read, have learned their sounds, have built these relationships with one another, have learned to respect the environment. It's a very rewarding field, and I'm happy that I chose it. When I was doing my early childhood education diploma, I learned about Maria Montessori and her methods then, and I was hooked. If you want to learn more about the Montessori classroom and our 5 learning areas, I suggest that you take a peek at our other videos where we will actually tour the classrooms and show you these Montessori materials that I've talked about. You can find them on our Facebook page and on our website, yourpreschools.info. Thank you very much.